What's up, it's AJ. Today we're going to learn how to troubleshoot the brakes on your trailer. It can be various different things like a bad ground, the wiring, or even the brakes themselves. So what you want to do is jack up your trailer to get the tire off the ground. That way, after each time you troubleshoot something, you can test your brakes to make sure they work. So with them spinning, I'll have somebody apply the brakes and I'll stop them and mean the brakes are working. First thing we're going to do is the easiest, and that's going to be checking the plugs themselves. So we have the plug that goes to the trailer. We're going to look for any rust or corrosion. If you see any in there, you can get a wire brush and brush that out of there. Try and clean it up, and you're going to do the same thing on the vehicle end. And again, if you see that rust, you get that brush in there and clean them up, and then plug it back in and try it again. Since we're troubleshooting, we want to make sure to find where the problem is. So we have our Kurt Echo brake controller here, a circuit tester. We're going to test the vehicle side to see if the problem's here or on the trailer. So using that and applying the brakes on the brake controller, I'm going to go to the tab that sends that signal out. My circuit tester is lit up. Let me know that it is getting signal there, so we can eliminate the vehicle from the troubleshooting side. Now, if you're not getting a signal back here, you're still going to need the circuit tester to check and find your brake lead on your vehicle. So you're going to have to get up under your vehicle, trace those wires back. I have an OEM package, so they're kind of tucked up underneath the spare tire, run to the front. You're going to have to get on there and find that brake signal and test it to make sure the signal is coming out here to the connector in the trailer. You can also check for your ground while you're in there to make sure that that is grounded properly, not causing any issues. And sometimes your brake controller can even throw up an error code, let you know exactly what's wrong. Maybe it's even the brake controller. Now, if you're hitting the brake pedal and you're not getting a signal, but you are when you're hitting the override on your brake controller, it could be two things. You could have an inertia-based brake controller, which requires movement to apply the brakes, or you're gonna have to find your fuse box in the front of your vehicle. When you look at the legend here, it'll tell you where the Chimsel fuse is. You can check that to make sure that's not burnt out. If everything seems okay in your vehicle, it's time to move on to the trailer. So that means you're going to want to start with the ground. Find the ground on your trailer, make sure it's on an unpainted surface, make sure the surface is not rusty either. Check it, make sure it's connected properly with that self-tapping screw. And if that doesn't fix the problem, you got to move on to the next step. Now, if the ground's not the issue, we're going to have to trace the brake wire here coming into the junction box. And then we'll also want to test the wires that are leaving the junction box and going to our brakes on the actual trailer. So this way, inside the junction box, I got the tester hooked up. We can test each one of these wires individually to make sure they're getting power. That way we could potentially see if power was coming into the junction box but not coming back here, then it'd be an issue with these wires back here. If there was no power even getting in the junction box, we know it's the wires up here to look at first. Now you can trace your wires all the way back to the brakes themselves, so you want to make sure the brake magnets are getting a signal. That's another good test to make sure that the wire is leaving the junction box and there's no cuts in the wire or failing all the way back here. There's also grounds we can check. So the nice thing is we can check all our wires right here because we have both of them running to this brake setup here. Then the other side runs through the axle. So we can test these wires on the ground and the power to make sure they're good. One more thing about brake wires, it doesn't matter about the polarity of the wires going in there. So you might not be able to tell by looking, they might be the same color. You might not be able to tell the power and the ground, but once you get the tester on there, then you'll figure out which one is which when you apply the brakes. The last thing to troubleshoot would be the magnets themselves. So you're gonna have to take apart the hub and drum, check and look at the magnets, see if they're worn down at all. And might see some copper windings, which means they are pretty worn down and it's time to replace those, and that could be your problem. And while you have it taken apart, might as well check the shoes and other brake components on the inside to make sure those are good to go too. Hope this helps you figure out your brake problem on your trailer. If you have any more questions, just reach out and let us know. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos of ours, we got plenty of content. Each trailer is all about helping our neighbors with whatever problems they have. If it's making install videos to show them how to put a hitch on their vehicle, or answering questions for them from the experts, or even when you call in and ask us questions, we're here to help with your adventure.